Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Beautifully Alpha. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dannie Phan, and today I'm bringing in our very first guest, Kim Longvo, who is a dear friend of mine. I've known him since high school, so we're gonna have a cool chat about how he is now teaching at our alma mater and how things have probably changed dramatically since we were students ourselves. And then hopefully we're gonna get touched upon. I know Quang's really excited about this. Talk about his experience coaching eSports. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy this very first episode of Beautifully Alpha. Woo, cue the music.
Beautifully Alpha. Beautifully Alpha.
Where were you just now? How long?
Where was I? At home.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were like at an event, or you were working something.
Oh no, it was we had eSports scrims.
Oh, that was
tryouts actually.
that was today?
Yeah, we're doing tryouts for. Well, I'm just VOD reviewing for recording for this team, and we were trying to find one more person for our Overwatch team.
So is it a high school team or is it like a third party team?
This is open division, so this is like people who are interested in moving up, so then they can maybe be professionals.
Oh, so what do you try out at? Do you just
Yeah, I'm recording from home, but these everyone's like from all over the U.S.
Okay.
I think there are people east. Yeah, there are people East Coast, Mountain, Central, and West Coast.
We totally just jumped right into it, but we wanted to talk a little bit more about yourself and like what you do esport wise, what you do in terms of profession, teaching young minds.
or let's talk about how you got here even. Like when did the music thing start? Like at what age?
I actually can't remember.
Did like your parents put you in like piano, guitar? Or...
I actually did Vietnamese music, like Vietnamese traditional music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With what instrument?
I started on the dang bao, which is the one with the one string,
Oh, the one string? Yeah.
Okay.
and then I don't know why.
I think it's dope.
My teacher I think my teacher just had me switch. I don't remember what initiated the switch, but I switched to dang yi, which is the 2-string one.
Okay.
And then I played that until high school, joined band, and then that's really where my interest in music took off. And I know you're from band.
Bands. Because I actually did play music in middle school. I just played with trumpet and then switched to baritone right before I started high school. But was there like a big aha moment where you're like, I want to do percussion professionally?
Well, I was doing photography at the same time as I was studying percussion.
Yeah.
And then 1 year in the middle of that, I switched to business because percussion was really hard and like I didn't know how to handle such a tough major.
Mm-hmm.
So then I switched to business because I thought it'd be easier.
And was it
But-
equally as hard or easier?
I can't say because I don't think I stayed long enough to be able to do it, but I think I just needed a change of pace. Like when you've been stuck doing something for so long and you haven't made progress, sometimes just changing what you're doing is enough of a break. Like you don't even need to stop doing anything, you just need to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
But during that 1 year, which is really interesting, right? Like during that 1 year, I wasn't really that involved in music other than playing steel drums at Cal State Long Beach. Still coaching at Westminster High School, but I still felt like I grew a lot as a musician. I was doing photo of people's recitals, and towards the end of that, I just knew that was what I wanted to do. So that 1 year off, I got a lot of value out of that experience because I had a goal and a vision of what I wanted from it.
Yeah.
Which I think is hard.
Had a lot of
going
intent.
Yeah, exactly.
Intention to it.
With all this during college?
Yeah, this is just the first 6 years of undergrad,
Yeah.
or the
Okay.
6 years of
The
undergrad.
6 years.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that you said that. You kind of came back to it, being able to admire the work that your peers have done and know that that's very attainable, even though like before you're having a difficult time. You're like, okay, despite being difficult, there is like a light at the end of the tunnel. Was it kind of that what you're experiencing, or was it something that you found within yourself?
I think it's really, really complex, like most things are, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I had gone to see that many recitals before then,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably wasn't mature enough of a musician to really soak in that much from the recitals anyways.
Okay.
And I don't think it was just because I went to so many recitals and saw so many recitals, because I think if I had just sat in the audience, I wouldn't have gone the experience I got, which was through telephoto lens, really being up close to the musician, and that experience, which is really unique and rather intimate, right? That was what really made me want to come back to percussion.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
telephoto lenses are good.
The stocking lenses are
I think I
excellent.
was using the 75-300, like the super cheap one.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, the one that only works if you have enough lighting.
Oh yeah, because when you zoom in, it's a 5.6.
Yeah,
It's
pretty much.
awful.
It's so dark.
So right after undergrad, there were 2 years where I did not know what I wanted to do, which I think most people go through that.
Yeah.
Still going through that.
Yeah.
Some people.
And some people still change their minds all the time, right? It's okay. There were 3 things that I was heavily involved in. First was music, coaching music at the high school, photography, and events, actually, because between graduating from high school and that 2012, I'd volunteered at Anime Expo a lot.
And a lot of other cons.
Oh, what'd you do volunteer there?
Volunteered in the volunteers department, so we managed the volunteers who
Oh,
went
the
on.
volunteer resource or something?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you do conventions now?
Oh,
You do
yeah.
it.
I've been doing that for the past 4 years. Event
Like,
operations at
It's
Anime
like
Expo.
as we left, you came in.
I know. One of my coworkers like, hey, you should do this. You might like it. I did it 1 year. Like, I liked it. If you're good if you worked retail, you'll be good at volunteering.
And you said you did con ops, right?
Event ops. I don't even know what con ops is.
Convention
Ops-
operations.
yeah, operations
Okay.
in general.
Event
I'm guessing
operations.
I know they restructured a lot, so I don't know what all the departments are called anymore. But con ops was a fun department where if things are going well, you were bored to death.
That's probably us because we're like complaints and lost and found. That's pretty much essentially what it is.
Yeah.
For context, Anime Expo is a very large anime convention out here in Los Angeles,
Held at the Los Angeles Convention Center.
usually in July.
It's almost always like on 4th of July.
It's on 4th of July.
Yeah.
I think I actually was going through all the badges that I have from like random shows that I've been. I've been going to Anime Expo since 2003.
Wow.
Me too.
Yeah.
Every single year. Have you missed a year?
No, I missed the last 2 years. I stopped going 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think within the 5 days this year, like over 350,000 people went amongst those 5 days.
It used to be 50,000 people. It was less than 50,000 people when it was still in Anaheim Convention
Yeah.
Center.
It was so nice. There was so
Yeah.
much more free stuff when there was less people. I
Really?
won a GameCube one year.
What'd you do with it? Is this upstairs
It's
right now?
upstairs.
Okay,
I got
good.
the silver edition.
What?
I got the silver
I'm so
edition, QO2
jealous.
controllers. That same year, I think I got a bunch of like other cool swag. I think like some really cool shirts that I still have around somewhere in my closet. Yeah.
So during those 2 years, I'm like, I can go any of these routes.
Yeah, I remember
Which
that.
one do I enjoy the most? And I really did enjoy all 3 a lot. But the experience that made me know at that moment that I wanted to do music was the band director at Westminster, Mr. Wiley. He was out to take care of his health, and during that time there was a substitute there. But then, me being the assistant band director, I was the one who was actually running everything.
Yeah.
Right, because
Was it just a plain old substitute teacher?
yeah, subs just to really legally supervise and just make sure nothing bad
Yeah.
happens.
Not somebody who specializes in teaching music.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So during that time, there was a moment where I was running rehearsal, and I thought to myself, I'm really enjoying every single moment of this. Why am I not doing this as a career?
You didn't like wake up and get out of bed all slowly, like, oh, you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Hell yes.
And at that point, I didn't know when I wanted to go into the credential program, but my friend Mark, Mark Young,
Not
he
me.
was
Oh,
a
yeah.
freshman when you were a
Yeah,
senior.
baby. I remember. Yeah.
He's still coaching there too.
Yeah.
But
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
He does drumline, right? So he passed on a piece of advice that someone else had passed on to him, saying that time is the most limited resource.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put this off if it's something that's really important to you. Go for it now. So then, right after that, I applied for like a bunch of different credential programs in 2014. This was spring 2014, and by fall 2014, No, by summer 2014, I was at UCI taking a master's class. And then for the next 13 months, did that, student taught at Westminster, graduated, got my credential, and applied for a job at Westminster.
Nice.
Yeah, it all happened really fast.
And then what are you teaching at Westminster? It's not band, it's something else.
A lot of things.
I still work with band, but I also teach special ed music. For the past 3 years, I taught AVID. I don't know if you know what AVID is.
I was in AVID for like a few of them.
What is the acronym AVID?
Advancement via individual determination.
Wait, can you explain to me what is special something music? It's the first thing
Special
you said.
education music?
Oh, special ed music. So
Special ed music. Is it for special ed kids?
yeah, actually yes.
Okay, so exactly like it sounds.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually the best way to start the day because these kids are like the nicest, warmest kids. So in the morning they always greet you, and for two the years, my first year and last year, I taught zero period, and no matter how bad zero period went, by the time I got to first period special ed music, everything was always better because they were such nice kids.
That's good.
Yeah. It was always a
You
good
didn't
reset
get
button.
you didn't get in no trouble, like no rowdy kids in the special ed.
There were times where things got tough, but that's true for any class, you know?
Yeah.
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 You're young, you can handle it. Imagine you're like, I'm about to retire. I don't want to deal with this right now.
I think good teachers will always be good teachers no matter how old they are. Like, there are several teachers who retired recently that I feel like were good teachers all the way up until they graduated.
Mm.
And they like didn't check out like
Yeah.
their last year or anything like that.
Yeah.
Did you have Mrs. Harmon?
That's who I was thinking too.
No, I
Yeah,
did
she
not.
taught government, AP government. I think she also started teaching regular gov, but we had her for AP gov.
She was so cool drinking her V8. Staying super energized.
Her pig collection. But when I was going through the credential program, I observed her, and she was still using, or not still, she was using like a lot of new teaching strategies using technology and things like that. So anyone who says, "Oh, I'm too old to use technology," no, they're just too lazy to learn how to use technology. Because Mrs. Harmon, right up until she retired, was always learning new ways to use technology.
So she did this on her free time. She's like, "Yep, I'm gonna learn it."
I feel like she had like some really high tech stuff. Like, wow, it's a whiteboard, but it can project stuff on it, and she could like write things in the project. I remember.
I would always want to play Counter-Strike on those whiteboards. Just like never miss. Just go up to it.
Yeah, but how do you do a 360 no scope?
I don't even know.
Wait, there's more. I feel like there's more than those two classes.
For teachers who are like
No, for you.
Like they're
Or- You
teaching.
Special ed
Oh yeah,
music.
so special ed music, AVID.
Are you still doing AVID or is it done?
I think
or you're out of it.
I don't know going into this next year. I don't think I'll be teaching AVID, but our school, during my first year teaching full time, our school earned what's called National Demonstration Site for AVID, which means that other schools are able to come to our school and we'll model how to run AVID strategies. In case anyone's wondering, because did I ever tell you what AVID is? Because I told you the acronym, but
Yeah.
I think the shortest description I can give is think about what that one thing that might be holding somebody back from going to a four-year university is. Maybe they don't know how to apply for financial aid.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're kind of disorganized. Maybe they're kind of lazy. Maybe they don't know what colleges are out there.
Yeah.
Like whatever that
Obstacle is.
one thing is, AVID gives them that extra nudge and that extra support so
Okay.
that they have a chance to make it to four-year university. Some kids are just really motivated and want to learn more strategies, and they'll just convince us.
That would have been me.
So it's just like kids on the border of like about to go to college or something. Yeah.
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 I always
but-
thought it was like C average students giving like a C average student a chance. I always thought that's how I envisioned it.
I think for some people, that's what it is. Is like their grades are okay. Maybe they need extra support so that they can raise their grade up a little bit so that they can be more competitive
Yeah.
with college apps and things like that. Like for every person, it's going to be something a little different. I know that a lot of things that I learned from becoming an AVID teacher, I wish I had in high school, like how to take notes.
Yes.
Cornell notes.
Oh yeah, and it was Cornell notes. People were talking about this.
Is it from the University of Cornell? Is that why they call it Cornell
I
notes?
actually don't know. We call them focus notes now.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember that
okay.
too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think the biggest takeaway from focus notes is the process of how you interact with your notes. First step is take your notes, right? Second step is we call it interact, which is circle like keywords, underline main ideas, put question marks about things you're confused about, star things that you think are extra important, maybe color coding things so that you can identify different sections of the notes. It could be editing things out, rewriting stuff so it's more clear. Third step would be writing higher level questions that you think might be questions that would appear on a test, or questions that would just make you think really hard about the topic and really deeply too. And then
It's all coming back to
and then the last step is to reflect and summarize on what you wrote about in your notes. And then there's like a specific time for when you do all those steps so that you can maximize the retention of the notes too.
Yeah, I've actually learned that recently, that you don't want to just try to binge it all in one go. You actually want to take breaks in between, because your brain has a focus mode and a diffuse mode, and actually, like, when you're not focusing on it, you're letting your brain absorb it. It actually is much more effective, which is why you shouldn't cram.
The numbers we use are 10, 24, 7.
What's 10, 24, 7?
So within 10 minutes, you want to have done some interaction with your notes. Within 24 hours, write some questions. And then within 7 days, do the reflection and the summary. So that's spreading out when you do each step, so that as your brain starts forgetting stuff, you interact with your notes and then you remember some of it.
Yeah.
So each time you do it, you remember.
And you have a better imprint of it in your brain.
Can you
The-
repeat it for me one more time?
Yeah.
So what do you do in 10 minutes? I'm just
Interact with your notes.
interact with the notes. What do you do for 24 hours?
Questions. High-level questions.
High-level
Wait,
questions.
within that 24 hours. And within 7 days?
Is
Reflection.
and summarize.
Reflect. Okay.
I like to use the word reflect more, because summarize is kind of a lower level thinking, right? Because you're just repeating exactly what's on there, but reflecting, you're interjecting a little more thought to it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I struggled on this topic. Versus reflecting is just stating what that topic
Or you're
is.
just reading it over again. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite student?
Favorite student?
Or students you hate?
I have
Don't answer if you don't have to.
Challenging.
that are work in progress, where haven't figured out how to unlock their potential yet.
Okay.
Or we haven't figured out what the right setting for them is. Because sometimes when a kid is the way they are in a classroom, right? We don't know why they're like that.
Sometimes they're just hungry.
Yeah, sometimes it is that.
Yeah.
So, in all my classrooms, I'll just have like stashes of snacks, like goldfish and stuff like that. The way that our schedule is structured now is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday are normal days. We don't do block schedule anymore. And then
Oh,
Wednesday
what?
is minimum day.
Wait, can you explain to me what schedule you have now?
This is regular. So every single day you go to all your classes.
Every single day.
So 45-minute classes, right?
Wait, do they have lockers now? That means they gotta
No
carry
lockers.
books? How
There
do
are
they carry
less
all their
books
books?
now.
Huh, there's what now?
There are less books now.
Less books. So
Our school last year went 1-to-1 Chromebook, so every kid has a Chromebook.
every single kid has a Chromebook.
Dang.
Wow, things have changed.
Yeah. So anyways, on Wednesday is minimum day, and there's an hour block on Wednesdays that is designated for professional development time. That's used for different things, including providing time for teachers to meet with each other, share strategies, and things like that.
Is that in the morning or at night?
That's
after
after
school?
Still school for us.
Oh,
but then,
yeah.
But then, like,
It's
it's
after-
after 6th period.
Yeah.
What time do you guys get out? Like 1 o'clock? Like middle?
1:23 is when the bell rings.
Damn, that sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Midweek.
Unless you have sports, then it doesn't matter. You can stay after.
That's also
anyways.
true.
Yeah. Wednesday, I think band we end at, I don't even know when, it's like 9 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah. Especially when we have like sports and stuff or a game.
Well, now on Wednesdays we have stadium time, so we rehearse in the stadium until 9 o'clock.
What?
Yeah.
That's so nice.
They allow you to do that? Because don't you gotta get like permission every time to use the field?
Yeah, so we'll put in requests to
Yeah.
use the field
Oh,
for all those
okay,
Wednesdays that we
okay.
need.
Every single Wednesday.
Yeah.
At Fountain Valley High School, we do it a lot, so that's why they'd come over to our school and rehearse.
For context, when Kim Long and I were in band, we used like a field outside of the stadium that we had to spray paint markers on.
You guys did it yourself?
Sometimes, yes.
yeah.
Oh my god! I remember these. You have to use special chalk that's good for the grass or the ground.
Yeah, probably didn't do that.
Oh.
We went out and bought that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's so nice that you can do it in the stadium.
Yeah,
Plus, wait, is the stadium AstroTurf too?
it is.
Oh my god, y'all. Marching on AstroTurf versus regular grass.
How do you like it?
It's bouncier. From
It's-
what I think I remember, it's bouncier.
It's so much better because when you have dirt, it does this. The ground does this, right?
And and you might trip over a sprinkler and,
Yeah.
I have tripped.
and divots.
I have tripped and knocked over other people with me.
I've seen those sprinklers cause concussions. Like people run and just trip and hit their head.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, where were we? AstroTurf. Grass.
I don't know how we got here. Whatever it is, we got to make it to eSports.
So that was because AVID.
We got to make it to eSports
Okay.
eventually. We
I
got
also
to.
taught exploring computer science, which is like super basic. Hey, here's how computers and internet works.
Wait, was computer science always there, or was it more recent thing?
More recent thing.
Okay.
And recently added last year, my new class was music technology.
Ooh.
So
Like techno.
I guess you can say it like that, but it's using technology and computers to explore and write music. So kids who
Are
do
you teaching
like
Finale or like other tools
like
like GarageBand?
I think it programs more like Ableton.
Oh!
And Garage. If we had a Mac lab, it would have been like
You could teach me
GarageBand.
Ableton. I have Ableton. I haven't practiced. I haven't.
Keyboard.
That's
Any,
not mine.
any potential? Like anyone you think you can make it big?
Oh yeah, we have several kids who can probably go pretty far in music.
Take over the world. I don't know.
Just get them on SoundCloud.
But even some of them they already have very noble ways of thinking about music. Like they're not in it to become famous and popular, things like that. They're in it so that they can raise awareness of less fortunate upbringings.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really cool that they're already going into music thinking about things like that.
I mean, that's what a lot of hip hop was, and then you know,
It still is actually.
yeah, it still is. And actually, people around the world are using hip hop to like cause a ruckus, to fight the power, give it to the man. So yeah, maybe that'll be a new sound that's created in this next generation. That'd be so cool.
Mhm. But the whole point of that class is to make music more accessible, because like with traditional music, if you didn't know how to play an instrument, it was really hard to access music, or
Yeah.
you didn't know how to sing.
Yeah.
But music technology was a lot more accessible to a lot of students.
And also with like, I would imagine because all the students have Chromebooks, they do now have access to like Google and YouTube, and there's a lot of resources out there nowadays too.
Even though we have to be aware that just because they have Chromebooks doesn't mean they have internet access at home.
That's also true.
Yeah.
That's also true.
Most people do, but then there are people who don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have one student who his dad would not let him charge his Chromebook because he didn't want to raise the electric bill.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Which a Chromebook's really not going to draw that much power, right? Like a hairdryer is going to have a bigger power draw. But there are still students who have obstacles like that
Yeah.
to their education.
I remember my friend. He's a director of technology at a school district in a kind of a rural area. He mentioned to me like, oh yeah, sometimes his student actually will hang out in front of McDonald's and loiter and then use the free Wi-Fi. And same thing with the Starbucks.
Do you think that's the future for us? Free Wi-Fi and free phones, like basic cellular for everybody?
I feel like the biggest hurdle, I think one of the biggest hurdles is actually just cable companies themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What state was it? There was a state or city that wanted to
Yeah.
have better internet.
I forget.
We
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it.
Can you
There
give me a
there
brief
was a city
summary?
that wanted better internet, and there was no cable company that could provide it for them. So they decided we're gonna make our own high-speed internet, and they were almost stopped by the cable companies.
Yeah.
Even though the cable companies gave them
Okay.
terrible internet.
Yeah.
What were we talking about right before this?
Music technology.
Yeah.
Music
It was the last
technology.
newest class that he started teaching.
Yeah.
Is that something you'll be teaching this upcoming year too?
hmm
Cool.
Hopefully in 2 periods.
Oh snaps!
Yeah.
That's like 60 students, right?
Is that an elective class where kids can choose to be in it?
It's an elective, yeah.
There's only so many classes one can take.
I know.
There were so many classes I wanted to take, but I was maxed out all 4 years. Because I'm a nerd, guys.
0 through 7.
0 through 7, all 4 years.
Man, you take music technology and a film class, and you got yourself a music video.
There are kids who do take both. Yeah.
But how did eSports become something that you started coaching at the school? Was it something easy to bring in, or was that something the students wanted?
I think it's both, and there are a lot of things that led up to that. So, what started, or the reason I got started with esports was, I think it was 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. The choir ran a Super Smash Brothers tournament, and I helped with that.
Yeah.
That was the very beginning. I think we did that for 2 years, and then the year after that, it was so much fun that the kids said, "Hey, we want to do a Super Smash Brothers club. Can you be our club advisor?" So I said, "Yeah, sure. Smash is cool." Did that for 2 years. Going into this past year, one of our principals asked me, "Hey, we have a League of Legends team. We have Super Smash Brothers club. Could we just create like one big esports club that unifies everything?" And I said, "Sure." So then last year, with a lot of help from an organization called the North American Scholastic eSports Federation. They are heavily funded by the Samueli Foundation. I think most people, if I tell them, hey, have you heard of the Anaheim Ducks? They own the Anaheim Ducks.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So Henry Samueli was a big tech guy who began putting a lot of his success into giving back to the community. To I think he funded a lot of stuff at UCI. He started a school, I don't know, was it private school or charter school? I'm not sure. And then there's the North American Scholastic Esports Federation, which starting esports programs throughout North America. So U.S., Canada. I don't know if there were many in Mexico, but mostly U.S., some Canada.
Is there a lot of interaction, like, between the different schools? Or is it pretty siloed?
I think that some schools interact with other schools a lot. There's just so many schools, so we can't interact with a lot of them.
Yeah.
We've worked a lot with Woodbridge High School, down the freeway, Fountain Valley High School, Marina, Edison. Definitely within our district, we have a lot of strong schools that work together.
Yeah.
So yeah, us, Fountain Valley, Edison, Marina came late, but then they have a program still.
By coming late, as in, like, they just started this year?
They started halfway through the year instead of at the very beginning of the year.
But for Westminster, for example, did all the other schools already have a program in place when Westminster joined? Is that how the principal was aware of esports, or is it something, it kind of happened simultaneously district-wide?
So the year before I got involved, the year that I was only Smash Club advisor, the Orange County High School Esports League ran a League of Legends tournament. So that, I think, was really all that they did that year.
Yeah.
There were scholarships and prizes and stuff like that, but they really only ran the tournament. And we wanted to keep that going, but then they grew to become the North American, I'm just going to call it NASEF, right? For short. And NASEF's vision isn't just to run esports clubs, but it's to really promote esports as a means of really adding a lot of value to a student's education and really empowering them to pursue their future, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And for some kids, it might be in esports. For some kids, it might be in video production, media, marketing, events, like whatever. Like whatever kids are interested in, there's a way to do it through esports. Like if they're interested in sports psychology, that is a thing for esports.
Do you think like it's something like CIF would pick up, like to the point where every school in a district or every school in a league will be like, all right, we have a schedule, and maybe at the end of the schedule, some sort of playoff?
CIF has talked about it for a while. I don't know when it will be official, but there have been people talking about that for several years now. So there might be a 6-period esports.
And I noticed like in the pros for some sports, some esports, like they just pick up like 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, like to the point where they don't need college. Do you think like professional esports should be like at least basketball? You need at least 1 or 2 years of collegiate or removed from high school before you can play? Or what if like a school like modern day, like a big private school that loves to recruit for all sports, what if they start recruiting from regular public schools, stealing your students?
As the esports scene grows, if the thing that is valued the most is performing well and winning, that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Where people are going to be recruiting from students from other areas so that they can build the best team possible. But because there are so many other people involved in the esports scene, the way we can spin it instead is that this is a way for kids to be empowered to explore what's possible for their future, whatever it is. Like, it's not just about the esports athlete. It's not just about the people who are playing on stage, but what about everybody else? Like, there are streamers who aren't esports pros, but they are entertainers in a different way, right? They're game designers, they're writers, they're artists. There's so many different ways to be involved in esports, where if we approach it from that angle, helping everyone find what they are strong at and help them pursue that, then each esports program will become something that's just more than, hey, we're going to be really good and beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love to go to like an event inside a gym with a jumbotron charging $5 a pop. I'd come and watch.
Hopefully. That'd be really cool. Like, that's one thing that we want to do going into the next year is like have some live LAN tournament at the high school.
That'd be really cool.
I used to think like just like regular athletes, like you get caught cheating on steroids versus you get cheating with a hack. Like, what punishment should there be? Remove 6 months, 1 week. I don't know.
That's a little complicated, right? Because each game company has certain rules that they have already set for how you play the game. So, like, if you're caught cheating, the game company, like Blizzard or Riot, will have their own repercussions. And then the tournament rules will set forth other ways that you're supposed to follow, or other rule sets for the tournament itself. So then if you break those rules, then there are ways to deal with that too.
Okay.
And depending on what is done, then we'll handle it differently. I think the biggest problem we have at the high school level, especially since the scene is growing right now, is tournament etiquette, sportsmanship, things like that. Like, how do you talk to and interact with other people in an appropriate and professional way?
Because are most of the kids like very sociable, or they're more like introverts or very socially awkward?
Most kids are really good at being professional when interacting with other teams, but once in a while you might run across a team where no one's really told them, hey, you shouldn't say that. So then they'll say things in like chat and things like that.
Oh, I love trash talk.
Yeah.
Only if they know how to properly trash talk. If they're just saying stuff just to be mean, or they're just tilted or angry.
And there's a certain line that you don't cross, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to appreciate, like, hey, you did a good game. Like, cool. Like, shake it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I imagined there can easily be some rude individuals.
Yeah, because also, like,
who
I feel
rub
like
things in.
you spend a lot of hours into these games, and then you lose and you get angry. And sometimes I feel like you don't play to win, but you play to not lose.
When the thing that's valued the most is winning, it's very hard to avoid feelings like that where you get angry from losing because you wanted this one thing, you wanted to win, but you didn't achieve it. So, like, then you start getting emotional and you might lash out at somebody else. But honestly, like, losing, you learn more from losing than from when you win. You don't want to lose all the time, right? Because that's just really demoralizing. But
Yeah.
It also means you learned a lot.
not necessarily. I think the best.
Or you learn nothing.
The best games are the ones where you barely lose.
Yeah.
The nail biters.
Yeah.
Those are also the best games to watch.
Yeah. Where someone barely wins.
I hate watching landslides. Landslides are also boring.
Yeah, exactly. When they haven't been trained to handle losses mentally, it's really easy to start like really being toxic to other teams, right? But I think that strong esports programs will train students to be able to calmly think about these high pressure situations so that whatever the outcome is, they know how to move forward from that in a way where they can still learn a lot from it.
Do you and other, like, what are they called? Esport directors?
The term that we're using right now is general manager.
GMs, general managers for esport. Like, do you and, like, other GMs from other schools, like, keep in touch, like, hey, let's plan this out, let's plan that out, or have a group meeting, like, at the end of the year?
Well, we have an active Discord where all the other teachers from NASEF
Cool.
are interacting in. And then there were also, like, after each tournament, the NASEF had, like, a feedback session where we talked about, hey, things that worked for us were these things, and then we didn't really like this that much.
Yeah.
How can we improve on that next year?
Do you feel like there's an obstacle in having other teachers or peers understand, like, esports, or is pretty much everybody on the wagon of, like, this is awesome, this is amazing, kids are learning a lot from
I
it?
think in our district, or at least at Westminster,
Yeah.
and definitely a little bit in our whole district, everyone's been very supportive of it.
That's great.
Most people have been supportive of it. I don't think anyone's actively resisted it. A lot of these topics are very important for students to be able to learn about, right? Esports is creating another opportunity for more kids to explore something new.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want them to not have the opportunity to participate in something else just so that we can exist. With how esports is going now, because a lot of companies see that this is something that is worth investing in, we'll find other ways to be able to fund the esports program so that we don't take away from...
Oh, outside of, like,
Yeah.
outside of the school's actual funds.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's definitely possible. I don't know what the answer is, but...
Because I can see people complaining, like, what, you spent $1,000 on the charter bus to take these kids to Vegas and participate in some tournament with some fees?
I think our school district has rules against just taking random charter buses.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
So stuff like that really isn't an issue because they already anticipated that and said, hey, you need to use our school buses.
Yellow
Because
school buses.
Our school bus drivers are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I like our school bus drivers. They're really cool. Or at least the ones we have now. I don't know how they were like back then.
Yeah.
Some of my friends have become school bus drivers now.
Really?
And they tell me stories like, oh, I ask them questions like, so what is that? Like, when do you pull out that stop sign thing on the left side? And it's like, oh, we just leave it down just so you guys can just go. We're thinking of you guys. But they should be putting it up every single time.
I think every single time that
A student comes
people
up.
are going on and off the bus, you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a school bus driver.
I should ask them more
Separate
questions.
interview. Separate interview.
You should find a school bus driver interview.
I mean, Quang apparently knows somebody.
No, school bus drivers are actually really cool.
Yeah.
The good ones stick around. The ones who aren't quite as skilled, you usually don't see them for too long.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it's not even like the driving skill. I'm sure it's like the people skills, right? You're dealing with kids all day, you get angry. I don't know. I assume everybody gets angry all the time.
I don't think school bus drivers interact with students enough to get in. Well, I don't know because I guess most of the time I've interacted with school bus drivers is with band or AVID, like on a field trip. And we have pretty strict standards that we hold our students to. Like you leave the bus cleaner than you found it, right? And,
Yep, that is.
And I always walk the bus right after to make sure that everything's off.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then we're calling the kids back to clean the bus because that's their mess, right? I've heard stories of other schools. I don't know which schools, but I've heard stories of other schools where kids will have left a mess, and then the bus driver would say, "Yo, why is all this trash here?" And then the parent said, "Isn't that your job to clean it up?"
Oh, dude, those parents are the worst.
Yeah, I don't know what school it is, and I don't want to find out.
Yeah. Speaking of parents, are also parents pretty receptive of like the students doing eSports? Are there parent volunteers that come out and chaperone things of that nature?
Well, we've never gone to a live tournament before
Mhm.
because for both the Overwatch and the League of Legends season, we were knocked out round of 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we didn't get to round of 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
What seasons? What time of the year is each season?
I can only talk for last year. I don't know what NISA's planning for next
Oh,
year.
gotcha.
Last year, Overwatch was in the fall, League of Legends was spring.
Oh, gotcha. And are the students? Is it usually the same students that play both, or do they swap out?
I think there was like 2 overlap, but then it was a completely different set of kids.
Yeah.
Do you have like one team and then like second string kids, third string kids, or you have like group A, group B, like so this first group of kids have like a chemistry, the
Or do
second
you
group
draw
of kids,
out of a hat?
or you just pick like the best of the best at each position and just put them in, and hopefully they have chemistry.
We do tryouts. Right? For Overwatch, we were allowed to have 2 teams, but we chose to only build one team.
So if the kids don't make it, they can't just hang out and just watch and
They can hang out
be
and
ready.
watch and cast and they can be involved in esports
There's
in
other
other
roles.
ways.
Yeah.
They won't be competing on the team, but that doesn't mean they can't play the game at all.
That must mean there's only like 12 in Overwatch. There's only 12 kids playing throughout the year, then, huh?
Yeah.
So more kids can't really join.
So last year we had one team, so 6 starters, and then we had 6 subs. Going into this next year, we're planning on having 2 teams. We don't know the number of subs. It won't be more than 6 subs. So that might be 24 kids who
That's
are
a lot of kids,
playing.
huh?
Is there usually that many kids? I don't know how many kids would want to join. Like usually, is it a lot or a little bit? Because if a kid joined and he's like, "Oh, I'm never gonna play," why even stay around for the rest of the year?
I mean, you still learn a lot. I would imagine.
I feel like that's from my parents' point of view. But like kids, I would feel. I'm just imagining how I would feel if I was one of the kids.
I think that's a good question. I know as a general manager, subs are very important for a lot of different reasons. One is, I think the obvious one is something happens to a player, we can still compete because we have a sub there. But a good team will be able to utilize their subs in training so that we're all supporting each other to grow to become a better team.
Yeah, and I feel like also everybody, including subs, probably have different methodologies of playing that everybody can still learn from each other and contribute as a team.
Yeah, and the cool thing with Overwatch is there's so many different maps and there's so many different hero compositions or team compositions that can be played. Where there are professional teams that, depending on what strategy they want to run, they might sub in one player for a position just for that strategy. So like a sub might not be a starter, but they might be a specialist at
Like
a certain hero.
situational.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be really skilled on these maps, but maybe not these other ones.
I don't know, just my opinion, my personal opinion. That's all.
I don't know.
But also, like, I assume, like, because it's a public school, I don't think you should turn anyone away,
Yeah.
regardless of tryouts.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe tryouts to see who starts, who's second, and who's third. But
Yeah.
but not kick anyone off unless you're like a private school and you got like way more money on the line.
Even if a student doesn't make the esports team, we still have the esports club.
Yeah.
Like I think I say that a lot. Our esports team practices Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Thursday is club time. So I think there was one day where like 30 people showed up just to play League of Legends, and they're not on the team.
So I have a question. Do people just bring like their laptops in, or like do you guys have like nice computers that the school's funded, or?
We have a pretty nice computer lab. We got really lucky on that one.
Oh, so your school got a nice computer. Okay. I remember we had crappy computers back in the day just for like type of essays.
And watching like Strong Bad or something.
Yeah. So through career technical education, our school has like engineering classes. So imagine like rendering 3D stuff, and
I feel like
that takes a lot of power, right? Like when I talk to a lot of people about like esports in the high school, there are people saying like, oh man, I wish I had esports or like Smash Club or stuff like that in high school. But if you think about it, like the first gen gamers, that age gap it's wide enough where the people who are parents of like freshmen right now, a good chunk of them were first gen gamers who played on like NES and like played like Duck Hunt and stuff like that.
The real OGs.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of why esports is able to be successful without that much resistance right now.
Yeah.
Is
Parents paving the way.
there are enough parents who understand the value of gaming because they grew up gaming and they know the experiences that they've had really shaped who they are now. And that gaming isn't just a waste of time. There is a way to game where you're just mind-numbingly wasting time.
Yeah.
But then there are also the gamers who understand that you can put a lot of energy into something and get like gaming and get a lot out of it in a way that really defines who you are today, in a way that makes you successful. Like it's not just about the physicality of being able to press buttons fast and memorizing cool moves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's also about how you cope under pressure. Like how can you be able to still think clearly and execute what you need to do in this unfamiliar situation? There's so many opportunities to make decisions, to either do it incorrectly and lose, or to do it correctly and win, that games like that, I think, make you good at deciding something.
Yeah. Because also if you just wait around, you're also not making any advancements and you're leaving yourself vulnerable to your enemy.
But then once you lose, you just go into replays, watch, well, what happened right here? Oh,
Yeah.
well, I thought they had less units, but they had way more than I did, so
Yeah.
I lost.
You
Right?
can watch replays in StarCraft?
Yeah.
Is that like a new feature in the 2?
It's
Or it's always been around since the 1?
It's been around for a while. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's
Okay.
been in Brood War.
Okay, I was never really good at those games. I played it, but I was never good.
Replays take a lot of time to really dig into, to analyze in a way that is meaningful. Because if you just go into a game and you just watch it without any clear objectives, then you might get something from it. But if you have clear goals, like I want to identify this one key weakness I have, or maybe for StarCraft, it's about just macro, right? Like, are you getting enough money? Are you spending your money effectively? So like I play Protoss, so we have a saying where it's just probes and pylons, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you always building probes out of your nexus? Are you building pylons? So then you can go into a game and just look at that one thing. Whatever your army's doing doesn't matter, right? Because if you're not building probes all the time, it doesn't matter what your army is. So we'll look at it from a very specific lens like that and adjust our gameplay to improve on that one aspect and just focus on that one skill set. It's like practicing football. You don't just play games to practice. You run drills, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of players don't just play everything. Well, some do, but they usually specialize in something.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? So then when you're watching videos of games, you'll have a coach that points out your specific situation and how you're making decisions in that situation instead of just playing games over and over and over again. Because if you only played games, if one, you'd just get injured a lot and be tired all the time, but then you wouldn't really learn it.
You want to learn or improve.
Yeah. So it's really just like reviewing for sports. Well, I don't know because I didn't do football. But
It is a very similar concepts here and there.
Yeah.
Westminster eSports, Westminster Band, and Westminster Football.
Yeah.
Hope you guys do well and improve.
Yeah. And I hope the team continues to grow.
Your social media plugs.
Let's see. I'm in the process of rebranding right now because I'm getting to the esports thing. So, Twitter, Twitch is Tachikoma_W. That's spelled TACHI. Oh,
It'll be right here at the bottom of your screen.
TACHIKOMA _OW.
And the link is also below in the comment section, or above the comment section, whatever the info is.
We'll figure it out. This is our first video.
This is also the best video yet, and we're getting out all the wrinkles.
Did you mean it's the best of all time?
This is the boats.
Boats.
This is the boats.
This is the boats episode.
Boats and goats.
Awesome. Well, we survived our first video podcast. Think of a bummer.
And I really appreciate all you guys like hanging in there and putting up with us.
And it's almost my birthday.
We've hang out for 9 more minutes.
Oh, we've been recording for so long.
I
All right.
know.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Are we ready?
Yeah, you start it.
So everybody, stay beautiful.
And stay alpha.